has been one of the toughest weeks of my whole life. I have had conversations with sellers and, just people in general. It's just tons of conflict and annoyances and misunderstandings. And oh my gosh, I don't get paid enough to do this. All right, I know a lot of you sellers out there hearing that are offended, but you have to know that our jobs as realtors are extremely difficult, and it's going to be very difficult to sell your house if you are a pain in the butt seller, like seriously. So we're going to talk about a few things that are changing in the industry, how if you're a seller, you don't want to be difficult, you need to get on board, we need to get your house sold, and the best way to do that is to cooperate and know what the market is. A lot of you out there think, oh, I just stick my house on the market, easy peasy, market's still really hot, we're gonna get multiple offers, and your expectation is that you're gonna get top dollar when you're not, because you're difficult. Don't be difficult. So today is Labor Day, and of course I'm here recording while everybody else is at the beach eating hot dogs and chili. But no, I'm stuck here doing my YouTube video, which I'm super thrilled to educate and help you. But the reason why I'm doing it on Labor Day is because of all the junky, irritating conversations and experiences that I've had this week. So I know you appreciate me. And good news, you could actually help make history today, because I am so close to 50,000 subscribers, and you're gonna smash that like button and subscribe to my channel because you appreciate all the sacrifices I'm making to educate you. All right, let's get into it. I think the top terrible seller mistake that I see that's most common, and I think a lot of sellers don't understand the impact of this, is being present or being in sight, okay? Or just hanging out. No, bad mistake. It's weird. It's weird, okay? And it's very uncomfortable. And it makes the, I'd say, buyers feel like you're a little desperate. So let me be clear on what this means, okay? So I don't want you sitting across the street with your dogs, okay, waiting for the buyers to leave. I see this a lot. Like, I'll show up at the property, I meet the seller at the door, and I'm like, what should take place at this point is leave, go, shoot. No. I see the seller waiting and then wanting to chat with me because they're a little nervous with the changing of the guard. And then the buyers show up, and then they want to have a quick little handoff. Oh, if you have any questions, we love this house, the neighbors are great. No, shut your mouth, get off the property, let me do my job. I know that's harsh, you guys, but listen, this is a major mistake. Just today, like, I show a property, everything's great showing, and then I'm closing down the property. I text the seller, hey, coast is clear, you're welcome to come back. And as I'm walking out the front door, I see him hanging out, talking with the buyers in their car. Don't do that. Don't do that. The buyers should never be able to recognize you on a lineup, okay? Because they've never seen you and they've never talked to you. Do not make this mistake. Do not make this mistake, because you don't know if perhaps that you're giving out weirdo vibes, or better yet, you potentially could have disclosed something you shouldn't have. Just don't do it. Please don't do it. You'll thank me later. Now, I know a lot of sellers out there, you feel like you can sell the house better than your agent, and your agent needs some coaching, and they're not hitting on all the points, and that's why you're not under contract. Okay, you guys, I'm telling you, if you're a seller, more than likely, you're extremely emotional right now. The market, at least in my area, is slowing down. It's taking a while for the population to realize that we are not in the same housing market we were even 2 months ago. So in my experience, my sellers and my clients are getting very emotional, and they're asking a lot of questions, and they're picking on things that don't matter. So the reason why you don't want to be present for a showing, and the reason why you have a realtor in place, is because you want to take the emotion out of the process and just focus on what's important, and that is selling your house. And the more that you get in the way by standing there at the door and talking to the buyers and trying to sell, you're going to create an uncomfortable situation for your buyers, and also you're going to come across needy and desperate. You're not needy and desperate. You're just anxious. You got to cool your jets, sit back, and let your agent do their job. So another terrible seller mistake, and I just want to warn you on this, is that sellers want like immediate feedback. Like, are they making an offer? What are they thinking? Audra, go chase them down. I want you to update every single minute of the day because I need to know what's going on. Now listen, buyers are in no hurry right now. I know you don't believe me, but if you put your house on the market, you'll know what I'm feeling right now. We don't want to jump down our buyers' throats with, hey, gonna make an offer, like they might want to see it a couple times, all right? If you're working with the right agent, they will have just the right way to kind of check in with a buyer without coming across too needy. For example, this is Labor Day weekend, like I said, so I will call maybe 3 of the buyers that I think have interest. I'll call them up and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm actually really trying to schedule out Labor Day today. No rush, but if you had interest in coming back to see the property this weekend, I'd really appreciate so I can get you in because it's getting pretty busy right now. And they go, oh yeah, absolutely. We really are interested in the property. It's just, we're trying to get qualified, or, you know, we have people in town right now and we can't get with our realtor to go make, you know, an offer right now. So you don't go, hey, are you making an offer? And my seller, you know, wants information. Like, you guys, the market's slower. You got to be patient. Don't be that seller who's like cramming down and forcing the agent to come across desperate and intense and on the muscle a little bit and we're in an auction. Let's get this bidding war going. Patience. Patience, my friend. Patience is a virtue. I know. I don't have it either, but I wish I did. Another terrible seller mistake that I see out there is that the seller just can't be bothered with all these showing requests. They'll just like work it in when it's convenient. So maybe they have a Zoom or a WebEx call and oh no, God forbid, they go to Starbucks, log into their Wi-Fi. They can't be bothered. Or they have, I don't know, friends over, or there's a TV show they want to watch, or I don't know. It's like they just can't get the showing request done on the time frame that the buyer is requesting, okay? I'm telling you right now, if Audra Lambert calls you and says, hey, I have a showing request at 3 p.m., does that work? There's only one answer, and that is yes, yes, ma'am. I will take my herd and my animals and my laptop and I will get off the property. Because you have to understand that you want buyers in your home and you want to do it at their convenience. If you give them even one reason not to see your house, they may not make another appointment to see it. And if you are one of my clients, or if you're watching these videos that I'm doing and your house is beautifully staged and it looks glorious, you have to get a buyer on the property to fall in love. So don't be difficult. Don't be a terrible seller where you're like, that's just not convenient for me. Newsflash, if you are selling your house, it is the opposite of convenient. It is the most inconvenient, pain in the butt process you've ever been through besides childbirth. For you ladies out there, you know what I'm talking about. So be prepared for inconveniences. And when a buyer requests to see your property, do your best to accommodate. That's all I can tell you. Don't be difficult. Okay, I just want to clarify because I get this question a lot.
Hey, Audra, you know, I work out of my office and it's impossible for me to leave the office. So I'll let you come into the house anytime you want and I'll leave you alone. But, you know, these are really important calls and I can't leave. Is that okay?
No. Are you listening? No. It's weird having somebody on the conference call talking loud and doing business. It's like weird. No, get off. Well, I can't make that happen. Okay, well, then you need to make arrangements, in my opinion. If not, you potentially could be leaving money on the table because your buyers are uncomfortable and it feels weird. It just doesn't leave the same vibe. Understand that most of the buyers out there, when they're buying your house, have emotional connection when they're buying the house. And when you're there negotiating, you know, stock market exchanges in your office, it just doesn't feel right. Find a temporary office situation if that's really the case. I'm serious. That's how important this is. Get out of the house. Moral of the story here. So if you are a terrible home seller, you will not go to the effort to present your house in its best light. Okay, that is a massive mistake. Okay, you're going to leave lots of money on the table if you don't properly prepare your home for sale. Now, I have a lot of videos on how to prepare your house for sale. In fact, I probably should update a few of them. But anyway, in fact, that'll be my next one. I promise you. So tune in next week. I will do how to prepare your house properly, and then we'll update it in the next video. But anyway, do not underestimate the power of presenting your house and staging and decluttering to attract the buyers, okay? Those photos and those videos and those images and presentation is key. Okay, I'm gonna link down below a study from the National Association of Realtors. So check it out, you can read the full article. And they talk about the importance of preparing and staging your home. And it says here that according to a National Association of Realtors study, staging homes can make a difference. 82% of buyers agents saying it helps buyers visualize the property as their future home. Well-presented homes are more likely to sell faster and close closer to their asking price. Neglecting this can lead to prolonged time on the market and lower offers. So for you difficult, terrible home sellers out there that are fighting on me because you don't want to prepare your home or you're not willing to let me stage your home. And by the way, I stage all my homes. Yes, I do. And I pay for it. So if you're interested in buying or selling a home in Orange County, California, of course, you're going to hire me, the top leading agent in the area. My worst home seller that I've ever worked with in my life, like I have never met more difficult people. This happened about 3 years ago. It was awful. Okay. It took me everything in my power to convince them to stage their home. It was so difficult. So I finally get them to agree to staging their home. We spent all day staging it. The house looked beautiful. I mean, it was gorgeous. I mean, I knew for sure I was going to sell this thing lickety split. Okay. We bring the photographer in. We take all the photos. I can't make this up. I get a call at the end of the day saying, "Hey, Audra, when are they going to come pick up their furniture? This is just for the photo shoot, right?" I'm like, "No, it's like during the duration of the entire listing contract." And they said, "No way, we didn't agree to that. We thought this was just for the photo shoot. You need to take it off the property now. We like our things better." I was like, "You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me." Don't be that difficult seller, okay? This is not your home anymore. It's your investment property that you're selling. You're not going to be living here. You want to show your house in the best light. And that most terrible seller that I've ever dealt with in my life, you know what they did? All the furniture. They actually took all the furniture that I spent a lot of money on and they stuck it outside in the front on the street and texted me to go pick it up. Are you stinking kidding me? Do not be a terrible seller. Oh my gosh, I still have PTSD, and I'm not kidding. That was my most difficult client, and yes, I did sell their property. I did sell their property, and that was a whole other story. The whole thing was difficult, but nonetheless, you don't want to be that seller. You also don't want to be that terrible seller where you just don't want to put any money into your house and you let your house completely look like poo-poo. Like, you know, the hillbillies, and you got bathtubs sitting on the front yard with the tractor, and you just drive up to the property and it has like distressed and foreclosures and the windows are boarded up. Okay, if you are that seller, you have a problem. Your neighbors are going to get irritated because if you do sell your house, you're going to bring down the values of the neighborhood. And just being next to somebody that has a house that is a foreclosure and a lot of deferred maintenance that is really noticeable does lower the value of the home surrounding it. It's true. There's an article written from Homes Go. I will link it down below, and it says this: properties near neglected homes, foreclosures, or those with unkept appearances can suffer from a value decrease of up to 1.3%. That's a lot, guys. 1.3% according to the studies. Even if your property is in good condition, its value can still be dragged down by the surrounding environment. Making marketing and presentation is even more crucial. That's what they said. I'll link the article down below. Now, if you're a home seller and you're neglected the property for many years and your windows are all boarded up and your house looks like junk, you're a terrible home seller. And your neighbors probably hate you because it's going to be very difficult for them to sell their house at a premium. So if you are a home seller and you have a neighbor that is, treating their house like it's living in the ghetto, more than likely you're not going to fetch the same price as a house that's near two well-maintained homes. So curb appeal and where you are located on the street, the neighborhood appearance and influence is really important. So don't be a difficult home seller. Maintain your home. And if you are selling your home and you got, a nuisance property next to you, just price your house with that in mind, because a buyer will not pay a premium for that. Even if there's no houses on the market, they're not dumb and they do have options now. Okay, so terrible homeowners, when they're going to sell their house, they overprice their house. I know, and I get this all the time. oh, we just got to test the market. We can always drop our price. Okay, that is horrible, horrible, horrible reasoning, especially when we know the market is softening. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't do that. You're tuning in because you know I'm telling you the truth. Don't overprice your house. And I know a lot of you watching like, oh, those realtors, they just don't want to work hard and hold the value. Like, listen, folks, your house is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. The realtor that you hire, hopefully it's me, is going to do the best job they can to give you an idea what your house is worth. If you're trying to push your house at the top of the spectrum here, and the market is starting to soften and buyers want a deal right now because there's not a lot of buyers in the market, your house is going to sit on the market longer. There's going to be a perception that your house there's something wrong with it, okay? So having your house on the market for a long time, buyers will start making offers, thinking you're desperate. It's better to underprice your house in this market right now, and let's see where it will fall. Now, I did talk to a lot of my realtor friends out there, and we're all saying the same thing. There is a 5 to 10% buyer market out there, meaning that whatever the last comp is, if your house is 5% below 10%, really depends on the price of your home, you do have a very strong buyer pool out there because they're looking for deals right now. So if you are a seller, do not be difficult, okay? Wake up. We are not living in COVID era where we make hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? If you're getting feedback consistently on your property that there are certain things that are wrong with your property, meaning the backyard may not be large enough, or the house is too dark, or I don't like the location, or the floor plan doesn't work for me, that's feedback. They're not saying that your house is overpriced. What they're saying is, hey, I'm not buying it at this price, okay? So a lot of you sellers are there saying, well, we get all this feedback, but no one said so far that we're not priced right. Well, yeah, that's what the feedback's saying. They're saying, hey, I'm not giving you your price because your backyard's too small, or I'm not giving you your price because I don't like the floor plan. Your house ain't priced right. I guarantee any of you out there, whatever your list price is, if you were to reduce it by 50%, I promise you there will be a buyer for your home. I promise you. You just got to figure out where your house is. Now, I'm not suggesting you drop your price to 50%. My point is, we know there's buyers out there. The question is at what price? And if you are receiving that feedback over and over again, what they're telling you is you're not priced right. They may not come out and say it, but I'm telling you, they're saying it. Drop your price, get to that next buyer pool, and try to respond pretty quickly. I'd say if your house is on the market, well, you'd have to look in your area. Every market time is different, but in my area right now, 60 days on market, 80 days on market is an indication you got to drop your price. Now, different price points, different market days, but nonetheless, don't be a terrible seller. You want to sell your house, get on board. I'm a little punchy today. It's been a really hard week. Oh my gosh. It has. Guys, this has been really hard. Terrible sellers refuse to negotiate. I hate these kind of sellers. It's very difficult to sell their home if they're not willing to negotiate. So they're not willing to negotiate. They have to have a rent back, or they're not going to sell their house, or they're not going to negotiate a termite report, or some of the repairs that are significant, like, hey, your cooktop's not working, not repairing it, not offering any credits. That is a very, very difficult, terrible seller, okay, especially in this marketplace. You need to negotiate, okay? Both the seller and the buyer need to work together now. I know a lot of you are like, no, I'm selling as is. I ain't doing no negotiating. I hate to tell you folks, but anytime an offer is presented in front of you right now, you are going to negotiate. Right now, we have this weird buyer thing going on right now with the commissions. Everything's negotiable, okay? This new process that has been instituted in the real estate community with negotiating these commissions through the offer, understand that everything is negotiable. So if you are a seller and you're like, I'm not negotiating commissions, I ain't negotiating anything. If those buyers want my house, they can buy it for this price. I ain't doing anything. You're a terrible, terrible seller, and you may not sell your home in this market. Terrible sellers also fail to disclose important facts about the property. This just happened to me 2 weeks ago. Oh my gosh. And I honestly may not have taken this listing if the seller would have disclosed this to me, which maybe that's why they didn't disclose it. And that was they had a massive slab leak on the property and they had a huge insurance claim. I always ask this in all of my presentations, are there any insurance claims on the property? Because I'll know right away there's going to be a home insurance issue. And he said, no, we've had no issues. I had him fill out all the seller disclosures up front before we got an offer. And on his disclosures, there was nothing about any insurance claims. So we get under contract. I'm very confident everything's going smoothly. Well, the next thing I know, bring, 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 pick up the phone. The buyer's agent tells me that there's a massive insurance claim on the property and their insurance is through the roof. And why didn't we disclose that? You got to disclose stuff, okay? It's a major problem. And the thing about it is if I know this stuff ahead of time, sometimes we can get creative on how to work around it. So perhaps we would have disclosed the fact that there was home insurance possibility and maybe we could have negotiated that in the contract. Instead, we had their house off the market for 2 weeks, losing time on the market. The buyer backs out and now we put the house back on the market and now we have a big problem. It is never a good idea to withhold information if you are a seller out there. Do not be a terrible seller. It's only going to bite you in the butt. You do not want legal disputes. Also, if you have a nuisance neighbor that you know any details about, something they're complaining about your property, sellers out there, you need to figure out what that is. You need to disclose it. If not, it will become the next buyer's problem and you are liable for not disclosing that. You want to get ahead of some of these issues. Do not be a terrible home seller. And yes, I've had to deal with all these things, which is why I'm passing this on to you. Do not do these things. All right, I know that was a little bit on the negative side, but please know that if you avoid some of the things that I spoke about today, you're going to have a higher probability of getting your house under contract at a good price. All right, so please subscribe to my channel. Put me in a good mood. I'm going to go take a nap, and we're going to get to 50,000 subscribers. We're almost there. I need your help. I'll be so excited, and it will put me in a much better mood. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.